Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to GRL. It is time for round 8 of Season 5, and we're here at the Hungarian. We're nearly halfway through the season. We've had some cracking races so far, and we have a fantastic title battle on our hands to boot. My name, of course, is Darren Thacker. Joining me in the commentary box is the wonderful Ashley. Of course, Silent Thief. I was trying to change my mic there. We'll bring him in just a second, but we'll take a quick look at the track we are driving around this evening. Of course, it's a tight, twisty circuit. Not many overtaking opportunities. Turn 1 and Turn 2 really are your limit, but you can see on the right-hand side, tight championship battle between Welsh Jack, B Ford, and even Blade trying to mix it up there as well. But let's get onto the grid. We've had our first few laps. I can only apologise for us being slightly delayed. Ashley, Welsh Jack championship leader coming into this, and he's got a very good start so far, currently on provisional pole by 400ths.
Yeah, he has. He's looking good already out of the blocks, firing on all cylinders, and his championship rival B Ford. He's down in P4 at the moment, only a tenth or two, just over a tenth off there. And well, we know that B Ford not really the qualifying merchant that that some of them probably make him out to be, but he's doing pretty well for the time being there in P4. So it looks like we could have a very good race on our hands here.
Yeah, I mean, a condensed grid as well. I mean, 16 runners, not a full grid, but of course, Hungary is not always a fan favourite, is it, in terms of track? It's not the best for overtaking, and I mean, on pad, it's not necessarily the most fun in the middle sector because it can get tight and twisty, but I quite enjoy the track. I quite like going for a race around here, and it can be quite strategic. We've not really got anybody on a lap at the moment, do we? But I think we've got a few coming out on outlaps. We're kind of in the end of that first run stage, aren't we? Waiting for the second.
We are, yeah. We're getting the second lot coming out now. Sousa, TechUV, I'm watching on board here with Dom in the McLaren, just on their outlap, warming those tyres up, getting ready to fire it round this fantastic circuit. But yeah, you're quite right, Darren. It's very difficult to overtake. So qualifying crucial to people's success this evening. Of course, you can do it on strategy as well. As that looked to be one of the Aston Martins absolutely flying through turn 4 there of Mansell, and making his way now through the chicane of 6 and 7. This is CPI Nardo on his flying run. This is going to be his first timed lap as well. I wonder what he can do and see if he can put in a good banker as well to get his night off to a good start.
Yeah, let's see what they can all do here. I mean, we nearly are with the qualifying. Nardo is going to be the next driver to set a lap time in his Aston Martin. And of course, I mean, this is our first GRL race. After the start of the 2024 season in real life, Zanardo comes into the pit lane. But I was just going to say, I mean, it's crazy to think so many races in GRL since the final race of the season, way back in December. I mean, I was going to try and find it here on screen if I actually have it, but I don't think I do have the season 4 calendar. In fact, I do. Here we go. So let's have a little bit of a workout. This is the first race since a real life Formula 1 race. Since, you're looking Miami, around 20 in Season 4. So it really has been quite a while. And lots of GRL races since, but we're back now. We're back with real life Formula 1. And we've got some drivers in some new cars, just like, a change to what we saw on Sunday.
None of the drivers in real life have changed cars, Darren. They're all the same, unfortunately. But yeah, you're right. Here in GRL, we have got a few guys in a different coloured livery, shall we say, because the models are all the same. But yeah, it's good to be back, but it feels like it almost feels like you never had an off season from the real life, because we've had the amazing sim here that we can gawk our eyes at, have a good look at it, and enjoy some racing at the same time. And of course, it's always brilliant to get some good close action like the championship we have currently got on our hands. Just riding on board here with Dom in the McLaren. He's done his outlap, he's on his flyer as he makes his way through a Lacey of turn 11 and into the final sector. Then let's see what he can pull out of the bag, what's up his sleeve, and what sort of lap time can he do for this first flying run of his. Aston Martin there just getting nicely out of the way through the final corner, hugging it tightly to the barrier as he makes his way across the line. It's going to be a 1:15.1. That's good enough for 5th place.
Yeah, he's just about put himself... Yeah, 6 miss, he's gone into P2, but he just about got ahead. Well, Jack, though, championship leader, coming into this race with a small gap, but he can try and build, not just goes P2, P4 for B4, as I think it was someone ahead of him also improved. I'm not too sure who it was, maybe the Red Bull of Takubi going P6, but lots and lots of improved times at the moment, as we might see Atom now. That's not going to be Atom, that's his teammate Michael Dale, but we've still got a few drivers setting their second runs. Blade starting a lap here. But I do think that it will be Atom who's next across the line. But we're going to have to see really how these guys do. Of course, Alpine, Atom will hope to have a better qualifying showing than they did at the weekend in Bahrain, and I'm sure he will, because we haven't got 19 cars to finish. 19!
Oh!
Okay, that's a block, and that's going to be a qualifying ban for Robin there, because Robin has done an incredible amount of blocking there, and Atom's not going to be happy, I think it's fair to say.
He's going to be absolutely furious. He'll be if it was live stewards, he'd be on the blower immediately. But it's not live stewards, so it will of course be seen after the race. I tell you what, then we'll ride on board with Robin that has just caused that incident. There's no question about it. As yeah, Atom had to make his way into the pits. He'll get a new front nose, but either way, we'll ride on board with the Ferrari as he makes his way through this first sector as well, and we'll see what lap time he can go and do. But of course, it will be a qualifying ban next time out for him. So is it his first time here in GRL, Robin? I'm not. I haven't seen him before, Dara. Is it first time?
Yeah,
or?
I've never seen that name either. Again, it might be a reincarnation of another driver changing a gamer tag, maybe, but I'm not too sure. But I've never seen that name before, so it likely is going to be their first race, and it's not the best way to start in your first 12 minutes of qualifying or so. Blaze went up to P4, jumping himself ahead of B4 and onto the provisional second row of the grid, and the top 3 in the championship, currently in the top 5. Of course, that can change. We've got some drivers yet to set a lap time, but time is ticking down. Less than 5 minutes to go. But I mean, actually, it is a short lap here, isn't it? I mean, 1 minute 15. You can try and get in and out relatively quickly and leave it late to leave the pit lane in the end of the session.
Yeah, it's quite a quick lap when you look at the timing screens, but funnily enough, it's actually one of the slowest tracks and one of the shortest. So, yeah, second slowest track, of course, after Monaco, which will slow the speeds down, obviously, somewhat more as it is tighter, twistier, and in the middle of a city. Whereas this is outside of Budapest. It's its own circuit in its own right, of course, and it is an absolute fantastic circuit as well. One very much in favour with the drivers and the fans as well that flock here in their thousands. And of course, back in the sort of 2010s when we had the likes of Kubica, Polish fans here would absolutely come in droves to witness their homebred hero. But yeah, it is a good circuit, and I think it will definitely stir. What happened there with the Ferrari? I'm still riding on board. It looks like he completely missed the chicane, but maybe it might have been the camera angle that went a bit awry. I'm not too sure, but that was an odd one there. But yeah, no, it certainly is. And yeah, back to your original point. Yeah, the lap times are quite low down, but it is quite a slow circuit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a circuit. I mean, you mentioned with the fans, it's one that I definitely considered going to a couple of years ago. I know we know a few friends who've gone before as well. Partick jumps up to P11, 15-5. It's his home Grand Prix, actually, AMS Partick. So he'll be hoping for a good result. P11, he's going to have quite a lot of work to do from there. But no one really on track setting a lap just yet. They're all waiting for those final runs. We're going to be seeing them coming out in the next minute and a half or so. And the first one is going to be an Alpine. It's going to be either Michael Dale. It's going to be Michael Dale. I was going to say either Michael Dale or Atom. But it is going to be Michael Dale. He's going to be the first man out of the pit lane, the first one to set his final flying lap. And I think he'll just about cross the line after his lap with time left on the board. But there won't be many of them that do that. Might just be these two coming out of the pit lane of Michael and Nardo. But I think we're going to see a flurry of action soon here.
Yeah, we are. They're all going to come steaming out of that pit lane very shortly. But even if these two make it to do a second run, their battery is going to be absolutely dead. There's going to have none of. They're not going to have any of it left. Let's say to get another flying run done. So it will still be just the one. But if they do have that extra time in hand, if they mess up the first one, they can charge the battery whilst they make the way around to then for it on the second one. So there is somewhat of an advantage to doing it, but either way, you're still really only going to get the one run in. So it'll be interesting to see where everyone lines out. But at the moment, Sousa out on top and clear by a couple of tenths as well. So he is the man to beat on provisional pole in the Ferrari. His teammate has gone well enough for 6th at the moment. But it'll be interesting to see what the likes of B Ford can pull out of the bag. Welsh Jack, even Blade, they're all definitely within a shout. They're all quick enough to do it, and it is tight at the top. So even just a 10th improvement, you could see yourself jump up a few positions. But here with Michael Dale and the Aston Martin following fairly closely behind through the final sector, and we get ready to ride. Well, Darragh, do you want to take this one on board as he goes for his final flying run?
I'll do the first half of the lap. I'll chuck it over to you for the second half, just so we can have a little bit of balance here. But let's see, Michael Dale, he's got to get a better time on the board, really, to have to say. Of course, difficult for overtaking here at Hungary, down into turn 1. You've got to try and rotate the car. Going down into second gear, it's not a gear that many would choose. I would, but not many. Out of turn 1, through the little kink of turn 2, and running, oh no, I should say running down in towards turn 2, of course. Some tracks give kinks a little bit more credit than they are. Through turn 3, flowing corner, flowing right-hander, down the hill before rising back up again. First sector split hits you just before turn 4, and he's not improving on the time just yet. Just about keeps within track limits. But coming through turn 5, you don't want to touch the inside curb, but you don't want to drift too far wide as you head up to this chicane here.
Yeah, into 6 and 7, the chicane here, flicks it right, cranks it full left to get it round, and now into the fast-flowing middle sector of this circuit. And I think this is where the drivers have their most fun, as it is high G-forces, quick action, left to right, and then you get a little bit of a break on this back straight before you make it into the final sector. Through turn 12, try and take as much curb on the inside as you dare. And then the same again with 13, but you don't want to touch it because it will spin the car right around, and then fire it in for the final corner as tight to that metal barrier as you want to take it, and then right over to the line. And that's a 15 dead for Michael Dale. Not too bad, small improvement, but it hasn't, I don't think, improved his standing somewhat.
Yeah, no, it's not really improved where he was, but he's just 3 thousandths behind Takubi. Nardo jumped up to P10 here, as we have got everyone coming towards the line. It's going to be Welsh Jack, who goes fastest on to provisional pole. Can anybody topple him? 14.4. That is a very, very, very fast time. Gibson's going to be the first driver to try and knock it off here as he rounds his way through the final corner and up to the line. Gibson will go into P9, just about leapfrogging Dom onto the front of the 5th row of the grid. Behind him, though, we look at Missy. He's been a contender, but he has invalidated the time, and he won't improve. What about Blades? Of course, he could try and stick it on pole, but he can only stay P4. McLaren of, that'll be Dom, jumps up into P7 before the Ferrari of, is that Sousa? No, it's Robin. He stays in P6. The sister McLaren of FIFA Lord goes into 11th place as we now see the Alpine car of Atom. He only can go P13, and it's just down to B Ford. Can he do anything? No, he can't. Stays where he was. Again, little improvements in the final runs from a lot of these guys, but the biggest improvement, Welsh Jack, he's taken pole by about half a tenth of a second here.
Yeah, it's fantastic pole for him. Is very much what he needed. And again, the majority of wins at this circuit being that it is fairly difficult to overtake here. Not many straights to hard braking zones apart from down towards turn 1. So yeah, you want to be at the front. So the likes of Welsh Jack and Sousa definitely in the prime positions, of course, to take the win here. B Ford's got his work cut out for him a little bit. So, but if anyone's going to do it, it's B Ford. He is the man normally with a plan when it comes to race pace and strategy. So keep an eye on him because he's not out of it yet.
No, he's not. You have to say, that McLaren, not McLaren, that Mercedes team, I should say, in general, it's just kind of, they're just a race merchant team, aren't they? Rob Kelly and B Ford, 2 drivers. Well, Rob Kelly at least not standing a lap time, starting down in P15, but B Ford, I mean, he was the champion in Season 3, the vice champion in Season 4. He knows what it is to win a race in GRL. He always has a good strategy up his belt. If his quality time isn't exactly there, his race pace is always right near the front of the field. We'll have to see how they do. But, I mean, Delta and Rob Kelly at the back of the field. You've got Welsh, Jack and Sousa on the front row. Mizzy, Blade, B Ford, Robin, Dom, Takubi, Michael Dale and Gibson in the top 10. FIFA Lord, Nardo, Atom and Partick just outside that top 10. But we've got a good race, I think, on our hands.
Yeah, I think we do, and I think for Delta and Rob Kelly, I think they had qualifying bans to serve. I saw it them mentioning something in the chat about getting their setup on and just going around for an outlap. So I think that's the reason why no times were set from either of them. However, look at that, Dara. There's a bit of rain drizzling down on my screen here, and that will always shake things up, especially here in the GRL. So interesting now whether we're going to get it back to dry, but rain, big field neutraliser. So I'll ask you this week, Dara. Who's your money on to take the win?
Oh, I'm gonna stick with Beeford. It's raining. You know, mistakes can be made in the rain, but you got to be very smart and astute with your moves, and that is exactly what Beeford did. Don't rule out, I mean, anybody really in rain. I mean, don't even rule out Rob Kelly. You'd say from P15, anything can happen. But I mean, rain is following me everywhere. The last week I think I've had rain in a race in Abu Dhabi. I've had race in 2 races at Spain. I've now got rain in Hungary. So I've just got rain absolutely everywhere. But I'm interested to see who comes out on top on this one because it really opens the field up.
It does. I think iRacing are paying off all of the other sim games to implement rain just so they can show off how good theirs is. But either way, it's raining here for Formula 1 for GRL. If I'm going to have my money on someone there, I think actually I'm going to put it on Sousa, the man in P2. He's on the dirty side of the grid, you would say, but it is wet, so the grippier rubbery side, normally for dry, tends to lose a little bit of grip. So I'd argue maybe he's going to get a good start here. But interestingly as well, I think historically, should I say, Sousa's always been good in the rain, and I think Welsh Jack a little bit more, I wouldn't say accident prone, but he seems to take it a bit more cautiously, shall we say, just to make sure that he doesn't spin the car or go veering off. So I think outright pace, I think Sousa could be the man to keep an eye on, and of course he is up there on the front row of the grid. So interesting, but we'll have to wait and see, of course.
I mean, is anybody going to try a Valtteri Bottas kind of line down into turn 1, rear-end the car in front, skittle everybody else out, and see what happens? I mean, it'd be great if we get a surprise winner like we did in that race nearly 3 years. Can you believe that was nearly 3 years ago now? 2.5.
I know it's crazy, isn't it, when you think about it? And it was his maiden win, and it's funny. It was he's not the only one to get his maiden win. Is Ocon? You've had the likes of Button, Alonso, Kovalainen, and obviously Ocon adds to that list as well. It's a track of many firsts. This one, Max Verstappen, his first pole. It was also the 100th driver to get a pole. Was held here at Budapest at the Hungarian, and it was also I'm trying to remember which driver it was, but when they got their win here, it was the 100th driver to get a win. So the Hungarian holds the record for having both sort of centenaries of pole and a win for drivers. It's an odd stat. I'm wording it very weirdly as well. I do understand, but they do hold it, and just interesting to know. But I'll bring it back to the rain, Darren, and I'll stop waffling after that. Rain has only occurred 3 times during a Grand Prix here in Hungary, and that was 06, 11 and 14. 2020, of course, it started in the rain, so it doesn't quite add to the stat, but near enough.
Yeah, it's interesting actually. But anyway, we're going to go to 5 red lights here. It's going to be Welsh Jack and then Sousa 1 and 2 on the front row. And the lights are out and we are away here for 35 laps off the Hungaro ring. Can anybody get a very good start towards turn 1? Welsh Jack covering the inside line. It's ducking and diving really left and right for the likes of Mizzy. As it's going to be Welsh Jack tiptoeing around the outside. Got to be careful there not to lose a front wing. But he's going to try and put his foot down, get the traction. And TTM Sousa's got a fantastic run off of the opening corners. Got the inside line for turn 2. And I think he has got the lead, and indeed he has. He's squeezed off Welsh Jack and he is through. Beeford and Blades fighting out. These two very good friends and rivals as they run through turn 3. But on the run up the hill towards turn 4, it is so close. 2 by 2 nearly. Between 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th. Going wide is Blades. He's going to lose out of position as Dom. Oh, there's contact galore. And Blades back up the inside of Beeford. But Sousa is away and that's exactly what he wanted.
Yeah, that's exactly what he needed. I told you my money was on him. He's done exactly what I was expecting him to do. So, yeah, good on him. But away he goes, and away the rest of the grid go as well. And the good and important thing is that the vast majority, albeit they're scrapping around a bit here in the middle of the circuit, they are all facing the right way. And as I say that, I speak way too soon. as TechQB has found his way into the barrier, and we now have a virtual safety car. Haven't even made it one lap, but here we are nonetheless. One car out, 15 still remain, so providing everyone gets to the end at this point, they'll all score points, but that will neutralise the field. As the safety car, you have to stick to a speed limit. Of course, if you go over that, you will be penalised, but it doesn't back them all into each other like a full safety car, it just slows them down to a speed limit.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, yeah, I think Takubi, I think there was a 3 wide moment and Takubi was on the outside and kind of just got speared into the wall, bless him. So that's not the ideal line for him, but we've only got a virtual safety car, not a full safety car, which is nice for us because we get the racing back underway quicker. But the best gainers on that opening lap were GSR Delta, up 9 places. On that opening lap, he's going side by side with Robin here, and I'm not too sure why. Oh, we've come back to Green Flag Racing. That was why. He's made up a 10th place. There's only 16 cars on the grid. He started last. He's up to 6th, an incredible rise. And we've not even done a lap of racing yet. Incredible stuff.
No, we've been green all of a lap now, I'd say, at this point. And yeah, that man has got a rocket in the back of that Aston Martin. I don't know what he has done to it, but maybe he set it up in the event of a rainy race, but he's flying, isn't he? The other man I will mention was going to be Rob Kelly. He's dropped back 1 position, but he is still up 3, as well as CPI Nardo. So they've made pretty good start of this wet weather event that we have occurring here. Whoa, there goes the Nardo a little bit wide then out of a Lacey, turn 11. As we make our way into the final corner, only 2 cars then off the back of the pack, and that is Gibson and Partick. I think Partick particularly had to pit in. I think maybe Gibson's had to do the same as well, otherwise he wouldn't be so far off the back of the pack. But either way, lap 2 completed. We've just begun lap 3. Normally if it was dry, this is where DRS would be in activation. However, it is wet and wonderful out there. So this is going to really test a driver's skill, grit and determination to pull off some moves around one of the circuit that it is the hardest to do so.
Yeah, Gibson back into the pit lane as well, not having the best of evenings himself, but Susan Welsh-Jack, they're pulling that gap now, 1 second back to Mizzy. It's starting to grow just that little bit. It's going to take a few laps, I think, to really see where the gaps are going to start to form through the pack. Of course, a very tight and close grid here at GRL, but we've only really got 13, and we have got 13 in this front group, a couple at the back, and of course Takubi, who didn't finish the first lap. But I mean, at the front, it does seem like Susan Welsh-Jack, in these wet conditions, do have an edge over Mizzy and Beeford here. Beeford will really want to get the move done on Mizzy pretty soon.
Yeah, I think that Red Bull might be holding him up at this point. He is very much all over the gearbox of it. Beeford, you might even see a move in these next few corners, because if he doesn't make it soon, the likes of Welsh-Jack and Sousa could get away, and for Beeford that is, it's not going to be easy to watch, unfortunately, because he'll want to get onto the back of his championship rival in Welsh-Jack. So it'll be interesting to see, will he go for the move soon, or will he just have to make station? I say that he's lost a little bit of time into Mizzy in that final sector, so he's going to have to wait for another lap, I'd imagine, at this point.
Yeah, it's not looking good at the moment for B4, but of course he can always try and bring it back at some other stage, try and find his way through. And it might just take a little bit of a mistake from Mizzy, maybe into a chicane, a lock up on the rear. Anything can really happen. You just got to be alert and ready to pounce if anything does happen. Delta on the back of this little group as well. I mean, don't count him out. He's been very fast all the way through the season. He'll want to gain some good points in this race, especially having come from the back of the field. But I think it's fair to say that Beeford really wants to try and get through a Mizzy and then fly up towards the top 2.
Yeah, he's certainly going to want to fly, isn't he, at this point? So, yeah, we'll wait and see how this unfolds. But Blade also not hanging around. He's very much almost pushing the Mercedes around the circuit, as we've had another incident. Who was that? That was Delta. That was Delta. What's happened there? I think he's lost his front wing, that's for sure. He's made a mistake into a Lacey. That's turn 11 before you get onto that little back straight. He's now down in P13, struggling to keep the car on the circuit without that extra downforce from the front nose. He's going to obviously make his way to the pits, but his evenings, he's gone from hero to almost a 0 at that point, hasn't he? Because he was flying at one point as we've had him move for the lead. And that's a Welsh Jack. They're still side by side. Look at this, down towards turn number 2. Sue's going to have that inside line. He's going to probably try and run Welsh Jack out wide and hold on to the position as best he can. I believe they could still be side by side though, through free. Not quite. Sue's just about managed to hold off for the time being.
Yeah, and it's a very good move. It's very good defence there from Sousa just to keep that position. It's allowed Mizzy just about back within the 1 second window, and he'll be very pleased about that. He'll be hoping that there's more of the same in the laps to come, but yeah, Delta's instant, I think maybe a snap mid-corner very possibly could have led him towards the barrier. It's unfortunate, but, you know, it's what you get in the wet around a difficult circuit like Hungary. We've got 14 runners left. I mean, look at this train back with Michael Dale here. It's very, very tight. The likes of Nardo, Dom getting a little bit stuck, but Dom all over the rear end of the Aston Martin, nearly tapping him as they come in towards this fast right hand. Mistakes galore from everybody through there. Atom is sniffing around as well. This looks like a nice little battle.
Yeah, this could be where most of the action is happening, as we have got a little bit of separation with the guys up ahead, but I thought Dom may have put a nose up the inside of turn 12. He thought better of it, and rightly so, because you may feel you got room, but before you know it, your nose has been chopped off by the guy in front as he feels you're not far enough alongside, and he'll take his normal racing line, but we may see a move down here into turn 1. Pulls out of the slipstream, has a little think about it, feels the mirrors of that Aston Martin, but doesn't make the move. But the Aston Martin did run a little bit wide on the exit. Is this a chance for Dom? No, still not quite. Not able. Oh, here we go. He's gone deep again, has the Aston. This gives the McLaren an opportunity. They're side by side through 3, and yep, he's just about hung on to it. I think he just got enough grip and traction out of the corner. But yeah, I think Nardo needs to watch it here. Oh dear, that was too much.
Yeah, it gets close. Oh, there's even more contact. Atom and Rob sniffing around now. Rob just giving Atom a little bit of a love tap down into the chicane at 6 and 7. FIFA Lord as well. FIFA Lord, good friends with Rob, I know. And they may be in contact through this race, but they're very close to contact as well. I mean, there's so much going on at the moment. B4 dropping back from Mizzy at the moment. Blade sneaking as well. If it's not going to dry, I think we might see a couple of 2-stops, or I would suggest some 2-stops, because the pace advantage you get on a fresh intermediate is incredible. But we might see some drivers stay out a little bit longer if we aren't expecting any if we aren't expecting any precipitation in the second half of this race. We'll have to see how this one pans out. Lap 7 of 35 now. And we've really got this front train and the back train, top 6, and then the next 6, or next 5 now. FIFA Lord is pit. Is he trying a bit of an undercut here just to get away from this train and to try and boost himself in this race? Let's see, Atom inside line, going for it here on Dom. There's so close to contact, a little bit of contact, a rear slide as well for the McLaren to boot, and he's not had the best of exits, and here comes Rob Kelly, going for the outside line, down into turn 2. Can Dom fight this one here? He's going to send it late into turn 2. Oh, far too late. He's pushed Rob a little bit wide there, and he's kept the position. I think we could call that aggressive defending, but Dom, he's not looking the best at the moment.
Yeah, it was definitely very aggressive defending from Dom. I think he's just about kept it within the rules, as Rob Kelly, he did have just enough room to hold it around the outside. But yeah, Dom not wanting to give an inch, let's put it that way. So they'll continue on, and luckily no further incidences at the second. I think he's actually let Rob through at that point. Made a mistake on the exit of the chicane, and through goes Rob Kelly. So he'll now go charging after Atom as he's now found his way into the top 10. But yeah, Dom's struggling for the minute for some traction and pace. So we may see another pit stop. His teammate came in the lap before, so I wonder if he'll come in this time by. But yeah, interesting, the strategy choices, as you said there, Dara. You could see a 1, but it ultimately depends on what the weather's going to do. Obviously, we don't have that information, so we just simply have to wait and see, looking out the window, if you want to look at it like that. But it does look like it's cleared up a little bit, as I'm riding on board here with Michael Dale. Nardo trying to make a move down into turn 1. He's going to have that inside line. There goes the Aston Martin. Has he secured it? Not quite. We could now see a drag down towards turn 2. They are still side by side. The Alpine going to now have that inside line. Can he keep a defensive move on Nardo? He can, but Nardo just about managing to hold it, and he has made it through. think now we may even see the Alpine of Atom also jump through as well. So yeah, there we go. Nardo's made a position, and just like that, Michael Dale's lost 2.
Yeah, it's not really ideal for him to be doing that. Let's see, up towards the chicane at 6 and 7, and Atom not able to really get through here. Michael Dale sitting in behind, but yeah, Atom made the move where he could. Rob Kelly now trying to make his way through on the Alpine of Michael Dale as well. Michael Dale trying to stick it in there. I mean, there's a little bit of contact, but I mean, that's kind of how it goes through that corner. Here comes Dom as well. Oh, that's a very late move. Dom has spun around Michael Dale, and I don't know what the stewards will say about that one. But I don't think they'll look terribly kindly on Dom there. Either way, we're over a fifth of the way through this race, and Welshjack is now really pulling a gap now on Sousa. A second at the moment. Beeford is dropping back as well from Mizzy, who he's sticking in there at the moment, but he's not really going forward. He's not really attacking Sousa. He's just kind of sitting and waiting at the moment.
Yeah, I think that could be the middle part of this race is going to be a bit of a waiting game. I mean, we've got some action further down here. Atom going for a late lunge potentially on Nardo into turn 1. He may have put him off a little bit as we now make a drag towards turn 2. Oh, we're going to see another move potentially. He went for the inside line, but he didn't quite get late enough on the brakes, did Atom. But he's looking pretty racy at this point as Nardo, he now seems to be struggling a little bit out on those intermediate tyres. Made a good move last lap, but he's got Atom really hounding him, pushing him round the circuit, and Rob Kelly also there in hot pursuit. But yeah, I think we are going to get a bit of a lull here in the middle of the Grand Prix, and this is where strategy could start to become a factor. We may see a couple of early pit stops and go for a 2-stopper. But like I said earlier, it really does depend on the weather, Dara, so we'll have to just really play it how we see it and see what happens.
Yeah, we will, but we'll just see if it doesn't look like it's going to stop raining now. But this game, being as arcadey as it is, it could just stop raining at the on the click of a finger, really. So we'll have to see how it all goes. But I do think it's probably going to stay wet for a while. And here comes Nardo into the pit lane. So maybe Nardo's looking for a 2-stop here as well. I mean, it's a little bit early, lap 9, to go for a 2-stop. The undercut possibly is what he's looking for. Now let's see where FIFA Lord comes out compared to Nardo. Of course, was in that train, wasn't he? FIFA Lord was at the back of it before he came into the pit lane himself with some intermediate tyres. And he is going to be miles in front of Nardo. Absolutely miles. I mean, the time he is gaining at the moment is quite incredible. And we'll have to see if he can keep that up. But throughout the field, the trains have kind of broken up a bit. Lap 10 at the moment. 3 drivers out of the race. Some contact to boot. But Mizzy, he's looking alright on the back of Sousa, but Welshjack is getting stronger.
Yeah, he is. And I would say Mizzy, yeah, he's closing in on Sousa. But back to sort of FIFA Lord, I think maybe even Rob can look at that and to gauge the gap, because he knows that he was right on the back of that train before he pitted, and he'll probably look at that gap and think, oh, that's coming down rather quickly, and we may see another change of strategy here for a couple of drivers, because the 2-stop could quite easily work, providing it does stay wet. And as you say, it does look as though the rain is still coming down, and I don't think it's going to ease up at any point soon, as we've had a retiree. That's Partik's full safety car then. We have a safety car. Exit of turn number 5. Partik's got it all wrong, found the barrier, and this will shake things up, because we could see a bit of action in the pit lane. We've got the Ferrari in of Robin, in comes Atom, in comes Rob Kelly, and Dom as well in that McLaren. Will we see any more bit further down? But this has left the front 5 hung out to dry.
It really has, hasn't it? I mean, it's the worst point when you get caught by a safety car. When the safety car comes out, but you've gone past the pit lane, and then the safety car catches you. I mean, if you've got enough of a gap that you're ahead of the safety car, it's fine, because you can still come into the pit lane. But, I mean, it's not going to work out well for them. They are going to be so slow compared to this fresh intermediate. We're going to see quite a blend here of the guys on the fresh intermediate coming through on the guys on the old. I mean, they might be able to pit this coming lap, but, I mean, the guys behind, they are going to be driving the wheels off that car to try and make sure that they stick within a pit stop window of the guys in front to make sure that they don't lose position. We might see Robin leading this race.
Yeah, we certainly could do, couldn't we? This has turned the race on its head. It really has. You know, the guys that are out front, this top five, they did seem to be in a class of their own. Robin, I think, was a bit in no man's land, but then you have got the likes of FIFA Lord. He's actually stayed out because his tyres are still pretty fresh. So he's jumped that little train that he was a part of. He's now at the front of it. He'll be in 7th position. But yeah, Atom, Rob, Dom, even Nardo there once he gets to the back of the grid, or back onto the train, I should say. As yeah, here come the front five, all into the pits as well. Did any of them stay out? I don't think they did. No, they're all in. Absolutely. I would expect them to do so as well. Robin, though, has stayed out. Oh, he's pitted. Apologies, he's already
No.
pitted. Robin's going to take
yeah.
the lead.
Yes, there, Robin, he managed to just about come into the pit lane early enough. How many of these guys can be overtaken here? I think they're all going to get overtaken by the entire train. So we have just seen a complete train switch here between the second train, now leading this race, and the top train, now in second, really. Robin, FIFA Lord, Atom, Rob Kelly, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, Shaq, he's got to settle for 6th. I mean, that safety car has really cost them, and we're going to see quite an interesting second stint here.
Yeah, we certainly are. As I say, it has all been flipped on its head, and you would argue, you know, based off qualifying performances, based off this first stint of racing as well, that the guys now at the back of the field are the quicker of this grid. So, are we gonna? We should, and I would imagine, see some more overtaking take place. But equally, it's risk and reward, so you may even see a couple more incidences here in this race, because it is a track that is notoriously difficult to overtake at, and that is in the dry, let alone in the wet, which we are currently experiencing. So, dude, I would say don't go anywhere, because this is just absolutely shaking things to its absolute core, and we've got a real shake-up now and a real race on our hands.
We do, but I'm just interested just to see how the likes of Welshjack and Souza and Mizzy try and work their way through the field here, because by rights they should be quicker, they should have more pace because they've shown it in the first stint of this race, but they've got to make the moves here, and if they make a little bit of a mistake, possibly lose a bit of front wing, it's going to really quite handcuff them towards the end of this Grand Prix. Safety car should be in at the end of next lap, everybody staying out as you would expect. But Robin leading the way here. I mean, FIFA Lord and Atom second and third. We wouldn't have said this about 5 laps ago.
No, I wouldn't. I would have said you're talking absolute rubbish and wouldn't believed you. But here we are. We're looking at it on the screen, and yeah, we'll see how this pans out. But I'm thinking about it again here, Darren. I wonder if maybe a strategy call here is to, all right, give it a couple of laps, see how this is more for the guys towards the back. See how the grid sort of pans out. Or, you know, overtakes, are they doable? Are they possible? If not, maybe make another pit stop if the rain is here to the end. Get earlier on that new set of tyre once again. All right, you won't have the outright pace advantage, but you'll have a clear track. So by the time, you know, I would imagine some of these guys may do another stop, then you'll have track position, hopefully, by quite some margin, as you've been able to just run at your own pace without having to overtake or, you know, take avoiding action or anything such as that.
We'll have to see, won't we? We'll have to try. We'll have to see what happens. We're still a long way in this race. Still, when the safety car comes in, which should be at the end of this lap, 22 laps to go. I mean, there's lots of racing still to occur here. But if we get another safety car, we might shake it all up again. But we'd expect everyone to pit one more time before the end of this race now. I'd be very surprised if anybody goes to the end. Mainly because I think pitters would make up the time of a pit stop. But safety car in this lap, and Robert is going to lead us away here. But I mean, that pack, Welsh, Susan, Mizzy, B4 Blade, they are going to be on it right from the get-go.
Yeah, they are. They're going to be champing at the bit. They're going to want to get past as quickly and as smoothly as possible. But for now, Robin, the lead car, he will take control of the pace then of the grid. I just saw an M plate fly, Dara. I wonder whose that car came off.
Yeah, well, I didn't quite see it myself, but we'll have to try and work it out. But Robin has gone. FIFA Lord and Atom following in tow as they make their way through the final corner. Was it Atom? Possibly coming around. He looks like he's got great traction, so it might not be him. No, it's not him. He's got a full front wing on that car, and he's taking P2. Meanwhile, TTM Souza and Mizzy fighting out B-Ford as well, trying to make it on Mizzy as they go down in towards turn 1. The Mercedes on the inside, and look at him, good traction. He might be able to pick off Souza as well. If he could get to the second place in this kind of train of cars, then he would be in a great position, but I think it's going to be just held off by Souza, who goes deep, who goes very, very deep. And was it Souza who lost part of that front wing? Because Mizzy's now come through, and so has Blades, and it is Souza with not a full front wing. That end plate is missing, and it's going to cost him positions and time, and it's all falling away from Souza. But a great restart from Welsh Jack. He's up 2 places.
He is. It was a fantastic start from Welsh Jack, and I think FIFA Lord very much being a bit swallowed up by the pack. His teammate got past. Rob Kelly is up into 3rd place as well. So good restart from him as Mizzy and Beeford now finding their past FIFA Lord, and I think Blade is going to want to jump in on that action, very sharpish as well, but that McLaren just struggling to find pace. But yeah, here he goes, the Haas down the inside into turn 12, makes it nice and easy, and that McLaren is being swallowed whole by the entire grid. I think Nardo's going to go for it now into turn 13. Yes, he is up the inside, and that should be job done before they make it to the final corner. And just like that, FIFA Law has gone from 2nd down to 10th in a lap.
Yeah, it's not really ideal, is it, at all for him as well? Shaq, look at him now, getting through on Rob Kelly. It's exactly what he needs to be doing. He's not even using too much ERS to make these moves either. So Welsh Jack really, really asserting his dominance here. Beeford, you'd say 2nd in that train of cars, or that faster group of cars. He's 3 places behind now. He's got 2 cars between himself and Welsh Jack, but you wouldn't think Rob Kelly would be a very hostile opponent when he rocks up to the, or if he rocks up to the back. Like 15 to 35 though, Robin still leads. Atom from Welsh Jack. Welsh Jack looking very, very fast at the moment. Souza in the pit lane. He's not given up just yet, but this is an incredibly interesting field. As Nardo 3-second time penalty. Who is going to really take advantage here? I mean, if the likes of Welsh Jack come through on the top 2, could Rob Kelly try and make those moves behind him?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, because yeah, you could say Rob Kelly, if he's got the pace, and it's tough to say that right now because he's already 7 tenths behind Welsh Jack, and he doesn't have that DRS to help him along down the 2 straight, well, the 1 big straight, the 2nd smaller one, but it's going to be tricky to see, because if he can follow him closely, he may be able to help pick him off a few positions if he can follow Jack closely, but we'll have to see how it goes. I think Jack's lining up another move here. This time it's going to be on Atom in that Alpine. The gap is just about 2 tenths of a second, and it is closing as we get into the braking zone. Pulls out of the slipstream, up the inside goes Welsh Jack in that brilliant blue Williams, and he's made it up in 2nd place. And B-Ford, still struggling to make some moves down in P6. This is exactly what Welsh Jack wanted. This is what he needed. His racing rival at the moment of Souza is down and out in P12, and B-Ford struggling to pick off positions through the pack. And this, yeah, he couldn't be happier, I'd imagine, in that car right now.
It's just going very swimmingly for him, isn't it, really? At this stage of the race, nearly half distance in Hungary. Rob Kelly, he's close to the back of Atom. He might try and come through. Dom as well. He doesn't look too comfortable though. I saw him have a moment, but we saw there Blade set the fastest lap. So there's still pace on the back of this train. You can still make your way through. Look at Beeford here trying to make a move on Dom. He didn't have the best of line, or did he? Good exit. Is he going to go for it to the inside? Dom 3-second on the curb. Beeford to the inside line here on Dom. Can he get this one done? Dom, I think, is just going to about fend him off for now. And Beeford's got to be careful because Mizzy's up the inside now into the penultimate corner. Mizzy drifts wide, hits the side of him, and I think that's a racing incident there that we've just seen. Mizzy not quite being able to execute the move, and he spins in sympathy with warm tyres. And he retires on track, so that will be a penalty for Mizzy. But yeah, I think all of his own doing there.
Yeah, I think he'll say that B4 jumped across him in the turning phase of the corner as he goes for the move on Dom here for P5, as he wasn't able to make it stick last time. It was good defending from Dom as he's now becoming under threat from Blade. He's just about fended that one off as well. But yeah, B4 up into P5, and I don't think he's at fault there. It's a racing incident between him and Mizzy. I'm sure Mizzy will say, "Oh, that's Dom retired. Dom into the wall, and we have another safety car, Dara. Shaken up once again."
I'll tell you what's happened there. Blades has just gone right into the back of Dom. Much faster car through turn 3, rear-ended him, and Dom is in the wall. That's what's happened there. I was on board with Blades. But that means we have got a safety car. People, I think, will pit here and will look towards going to the end in this race. But we might see 1 or 2 stick it out. Maybe Sousa sticking it out here, but there's a long way to go. Still halfway through, and we've only got 10 runners left, so hopefully we get some finishes in this race.
Yeah, the problem with Sousa sticking it out, you're right, he could do that, but the gap between him and FIFA Lord is sort of 23, 24 seconds, and to me, that's a pit stop in my mind, so I don't think he's going to gain anything from it by holding it. He may as well just come into the pits, put on a fresh set of inters once again, if he's got a set, that is, and then be at the back, which I think he's going to be anyway, with that fresher set on. But look at this, B Ford, he's opted to stay out. He's going round, he's not decided to pull into the pits, the only man to do so at present, but he is going to take the lead of the Grand Prix, albeit we are under safety car, but he has now got track position. He's put that Mercedes right where he wants it, and he's hopefully going to hang on to that until the end, but he's got a long way to go on those tyres, and the guys behind him, they're all going to have fresh sets, so interesting strategy being played out.
Yeah, I mean, 9 runners now. Really don't know why Nardo's pit. Yeah, a bit of a weird one to me. But yeah, B4 sticking it out here. Maybe he thinks he'll be able to have better pace than Robin here to try and get away from the pack, just avoid the fighting. But it's a risk strategy. If Welsh Jack gets through on Robin, he's going to get through on B4 very quickly, you'd have thought. So we'll have to see how this one pans out. But yeah, we're just about halfway through this race, and only 9 runners left, which isn't ideal. But we'll have to see who can, get the most amount of points for the situation.
It's not ideal, but the guys that are left in it, yeah, as you say, it's big points for them. For the likes of Rob Kelly, I don't want to say it, but he's not been the top dog for points this season so far. So this could be a good win for him in a way, for that, to help his championship a little bit and to help his teammate as well in that, because the Mercedes are fighting it out at the front for the constructors. So it will be good points for the team, even if Rob might not win the championship. There's a long way to go. Who knows? But either way, the constructors is always still on, and I know Mercedes are right at the forefront of that as well. So we've only got 3 teams there that still have both drivers in. That's the Ferrari, the Williams, and the Mercedes. So good points coming their way.
Yeah, we'll have to see what goes on. But yeah, I'm interested to see how this works out for B Ford. Of course, we've got all those drivers crossing the line now on their intermediate tyres, but I mean, if we have another pit stop, of course, each driver will have 3 sets of intermediates, I believe, and they'll have used all 3 of them now. So if we have another safety car, they're gonna get put out on newer tyres, but they're not gonna be fresh. So that's gonna be interesting how that all works. But I mean, I think B Ford's clever here because he's leaving that fresh inter in his pocket. He can use that later on if there's another safety car, but he also risks if there's not a safety car, he might fall down the field.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's definitely a possibility, and we've had, how many cars is that out of this Grand Prix? We've had 7 cars already out, be it through retirement or sort of DNFing. So there's not many left that can cause that situation once again, being another safety car. So it's a big decision to be made, isn't it? But I think really his mind probably is at, he's got track position, he is the lead car, he has pace, we know this man can race wet, dry, whatever the conditions, and be quick. And I think his thought process to me is he's got a car in between him and his rival. Yeah, his tyres are a little bit older, but that intermediate can go a long way. It's whether he has the pace to eke that tyre wear out and have pace to the end of the Grand Prix. But I'll throw it back to you, Sarah. Safety car in this lap, and we'll get ready to go green for the third time.
Yeah, we'll have to see who comes out with the lead here. Robin's going to be trying to get through as quickly as he possibly can, but Welsh Jack is lurking around as well. Let's see. Beeford not going just yet. He's going very slowly as the run towards the final corner, but he goes as he enters the final corner. It's a good restart, actually. He's caught Robin a little bit napping. He's not had the best of restarts. Can Welsh Jack try and capitalise, or even Atom here on the run down in towards turn 1? Not many cars. They're all line of stern as they run down towards the opening corner, and it's going to be Atom looking for the move on Welsh Jack, looking for it, but not going to be able to make it. But a little bit of contact between Welsh Jack and Robin here. Welsh Jack just tapping the rear of the Ferrari, and Atom's going to go for the move. Meanwhile, for the lead, Welsh Jack around the Robin around the outside of B4. Can he pull that one off? No. But Atom is still dancing his way. He can't quite make it stick, but some action with these 9 drivers.
Yeah, it definitely is. They're all going to go for it. They know they've got a good chance of even getting a win here now this evening. Not many cars left. Only 15 laps to go at the end of this one. And yeah, Atom looking very racy here at the restart, as we saw him try to make the move on Welsh Jack down into turn 2. But they have all found their way back into the pack. Is that a move for the leader though? Robin up the inside of Beeford, tried to have a little look. This is very tricky to do so, as it is pretty much single file through this section of circuit. So he was trying to make a very brave decision. But for the minute, he's going to have to accept his fate and just sit back in line for the moment. But they're incredibly close as they finish off this lap, very much pushing each other around. I'm surprised we've had no bigger incidences of contact at this present moment.
Yeah, Rob trying to make a move here on Atom. Oh, Atom all out of line. That's not the line you should be taking in the final corner. Rob around the outside. He's made the move stick. But look at this trio for the lead here. It's going to be a Beeford leading from Robin, but Welsh Jack is arriving on the scene. He's going to try and go down the inside of the both of them. Can he make this one work? No. He's going to wait. Robin swooping around the outside. You can look behind as well with Rob Kelly and Atom fighting this one hard, as I think that's Rob Kelly and Atom still side by side. They're 3 wide for the lead though. Robin, Beeford, Welsh Jack left to right, but it's going to be Welsh Jack sweeping through all the way around the outside. He has made that one work beautifully so. And it's Beeford now under pressure from his teammate Rob, who has a moment through turn 3. Here comes Atom. Little bit of contact. Who's going to stick this one out? Rob's going to take the position through turn 4. But this is some mental fighting here.
Yeah, and it's not over yet. Blade trying to have a little look on Atom. I think Sousa's even getting in on the action. They're almost going side by side into the chicane. I think once again things have settled down just for the moment in this middle sector, just because it is very difficult to make moves. But Atom looking pretty vulnerable at the second. But I'm just looking here, Rob Kelly pretty much pushing his teammate round. Here he goes. We're going to see a move into turn 12. Rob Kelly up into the podium spots, takes P3 away from his teammate, and he now has a chance to maybe go chasing after the front 2 if he has the pace to do so. But there is a bit of a gap in between, 1.4 seconds, so he's got some work to do as Beeford's into the pits. Beeford is in the pits.
Yeah, I don't think that... I think he knows that strategy hasn't worked out for him, but maybe he's going for some fresh tyres. I really don't know what the idea is here for him, but either way, he's going to come out in 9th. He's going to have a lot of work to do. Very late send from Sousa on Beeford. Very, very, very late there. Contact between the 2 drivers. Blade's going to have the better exit through the corner, and Blade's going to have the inside line at turn 2. Sousa, he came from a long way back to try and make that one work, but I think Blade's going to hold off for P5 here, and indeed he does, as they run their way through 2 and 3. But yeah, the top 2 getting away at the moment. Rob Kelly, Rob Kelly and Atom 3rd and 4th. They could be a bit of a bottleneck for the guys like Sousa. Well, for Sousa really, because he's the last driver of that front train still in the race, who isn't in the lead, so, or at the back of the field. So we'll have to see how he does. But this is interesting still. The podium really is open.
Yeah, everything is still up for grabs in my book. Even the win. Welsh Jack, he's doing well. He's opened up that gap now between him and the Ferrari of Robin. But it is still a wet track. It's still Hungary, and you can easily get a little snap here when you weren't expecting it, and before you know it, you're off into the grass, or worse still, into that barrier. So the race is not won yet, let's put it that way. Anything can and normally does still happen. But for the moment, Welsh Jack back into the lead and trying to make a commanding one of it. But yeah, Rob Kelly holding his own for the moment. He's doing very well indeed, as the likes of Atom has Blade breathing down his neck. onto the start-finish straight. Lap 23 has now begun. I think Blade going to be a little bit too far back to make a move. Had a little think about it potentially, but no, he's got half a second between him and Atom. As I think things are now beginning to settle down for just the time being. I'm just looking at the gap between B Ford and FIFA Lord. That was 18 seconds, if my memory serves me well, from the previous lap. So in a lap, 2 seconds has been eaten up by B Ford. So he is on a monstrous charge on that fresh set of rubber.
Yeah, let's just see how quickly he can try and catch the back of the pack, but it's 16 seconds. It's going to take quite a big effort here. Welsh Jack, though, really putting his foot down, asserting his dominance in this race with 12.5 laps to go. But, I mean, Blades here, he looks really keen to get through on Atom. Let's see if he can do it soon. I mean, he won't want to do it into this right-hander. But maybe down into towards turn 1. Got a nice little VRS battery as well to go for it into the opening corner. But he's really going to have to get these moves done soon, you'd have thought.
Yeah, he needs to make it this lap, at the end of this lap, I think, slash beginning of next one, down to turn 1. He is all over the rear of that Alpine. Again, pretty much pushing him along, nose to gearbox. And if we don't see a move here, I'll be very shocked and surprised. But here we are, down the start-finish straight. As Souza into the pits, picks up a 5-second. Never mind, he's retired either way. As Blade doesn't go for the move. That's interesting. Didn't feel he had the pace or the brakes to get alongside the Alpine. Backed out of it and didn't go for it. So he's still stuck behind Atom for the minute, as Atom's putting on his best Fernando Alonso impression to keep that Haas behind.
Yeah, I mean, let's see though. Up into turn 4, Atom just backs out and Blade swoops through. Up into P4 now, Atom just sitting in behind. We'll see if he can try and keep his P5 for now. But Blade's going to be chasing after Rob Kelly. We've only got 8 runners left now. Half the grid is DNF'd. And there's going to be some very good points for just finishing in this race at the moment, really. B Ford really eating time out of the pack, but you know, he's going to have to hope those tyres are still holding up by the time he gets to the back of the group. But as it is, Welsh, Jack, Robin, Rob Kelly 1, 2 and 3, but Blade's looking hungry for a podium.
He is. I'm just running on board here with the remaining McLaren. FIFA Lord chasing down Gibson. It's the battle for P6, but it is the closest one currently on track at the moment, as there is only 3 tenths separating them at present. And FIFA Lord, he looks like he's going to try and make a move very soon. He's been on the back of Gibson for the last few laps. I've been slowly keeping one eye sort of hovering over the gap between the two of them, and it's been hovering around that 3-second mark. So it's just, I feel, a matter of time whether one makes a mistake or one does get just a monstrous exit potentially, as there's maybe a little bit of contact there into turn 1. I think they've just about got away with it, but it's opened the gap up once again. So now FIFA's going to have to put in some hard work.
A lot of hard work, you'd have to say, for him to do here. I mean, Beeford, look at Beeford now. It's 10.5 seconds from the back of the pack. Now, he is absolutely eating time, it's fair to say, from FIFA Lord and Gibson here. I think when he gets to those two, he can get through. It's just how many drivers he can get through with 10.5 laps left of this race. But Blades ever closer to Rob Kelly here as they run through the chicane at 6 and 7. He's really looking for a podium. Rob's going to be gutted, you'd think, if he can miss out on a podium at this stage of the race. He started back in P15, currently running P3. But it might come a little bit unstuck here. Maybe another safety car, but with only 8 drivers, the chances of a safety car are slim, you'd have to say, aren't they? But Blade right on the back of Rob Kelly. Let's see if he can get through.
Yeah, chances are incredibly slim. So I don't think at this point we're going to see any sort of other safety car action, virtual or full, left in this race, let's put it that way. So I think we should be green to the end. Of course, I can't promise that because, you know, anything can happen, of course. Gibson into the pits now, interestingly, though. So that does promote then FIFA Lord up into P6 as Blade hot on the heels of Rob Kelly in that Mercedes. Rob Kelly just about doing enough at the moment. But, yeah, Blade is looking for the move. He's looking for that podium, and potentially if he can get past, he might go try and chase Robin, who's only a couple of seconds up the road. And after that, Welsh Jack, he's only a couple of seconds up from Robin. But first things first, he needs to dispatch the Mercedes.
He does, but we'll have to see if he can do it. I mean, he's been stuck there for a few laps, but you know, like I said before, earlier on the race, it's always just a little one mistake that you can make that might ruin your race, make it become a little bit unstuck. But as it is, he's going along nicely. B Ford gaining about 2.5 seconds a lap at the moment on the back of FIFA Lord, up in P7. P6 absolutely not out of the question. And even from there, P3 isn't out that far away, but we will have to see just how he manages to work this through. Just about 9 laps left of this race. Welsh Jack, Robin, Rob Kelly 1, 2 and 3, but look at Blaze, he's nearly pushing Rob through this final sector, but it all really depends on this exit of the final corner, because if you can't get a good enough exit, you're not going to be able to have a good enough run towards turn 1. But let's see, final corner this time around. Again, Rob not with a bad exit, a little bit of a slide there for Blades, and I mean, Rob's just got enough ERS to stay in front at the moment, so he's not able to attack here, Blades.
No, he's not. Rob's doing everything he needs to do. He's soaking up the pressure quite nicely like a sponge. And so he's doing everything he needs to. He's keeping that Haas behind him, putting the car where he needs it, making sure that there's no advantages being gained for a chance of Blade getting the move done. So no, he's doing incredibly well at this point. And still holding on to that final podium spot. Of course, the guys in front of him pulling away a little bit, but I don't think he's going to mind too much if he hangs on to this position. But yeah, the gap now for B-Ford, 6 seconds, Dara. So it's absolutely coming down at a rate of knots. He is flying, shall we say. And I wonder, podium maybe on the cards for B-Ford still. I wouldn't rule it out. We've still got a fair few laps to go in this race.
I think it just partially depends on what the tyre drop-off is, or what the differential in the time is between some of the sets of tyres. Because if you can still be, I mean, he'll be quicker all the way to the end of the race. It's just about how much quicker he can be towards the end of the race that's going to be the key question here. If he keeps this up, he can be right in the fight. Definitely for a podium, no question about it. But it's just whether he can just keep that edge or that time gain compared to everyone else. FIFA Lord comes into the pit lane from his tyres. I think it's a little bit too late to really see any of the top 5 come in. But, I mean, don't rule it out necessarily in the next lap or two. But, yeah, we never know. I mean, I can't see any of the top 3 coming in voluntarily now. It's way too late to make up the time. I think it'd only be a question if they might get a puncture.
Yeah, I don't see. Well, I mean, to be honest, I was quite surprised. I saw FIFA Lord come into the pits just then, so I don't really see any benefit now of pitting. I think you've made your decisions. This is the race. You've got to get on with it now and see where you end up. So if you're struggling for tyre grip, you've got to go into tyre management mode and just nurse them to the end, because it is too late to try and make up the deficit of a pit stop. I think if you were going to do it, B4 did it at a pretty good time, and we're seeing the fruits of his labour, albeit the gap is between him and Atom is 9 seconds. Was Atom really that far up the road from FIFA Lord?
Yeah, we'll have to see about this one, because, I mean, on the new tyre, FIFA Lord is going to be absolutely rapid. But, I mean, yeah, it's just interesting just to see the guys at the back that much quicker than the guys at the front. But we're going to have, what's this now? Going to be 7 laps to go to the end of the race. But we'll have to see, I mean. Oh, Rob, that doesn't look like a nice exit. Yeah, Atom's in. Maybe they're thinking about punctuating. Maybe they can see the amount of time that the likes of B4 are gaining here. But realistically, it's a bit late to gain that time back. I mean, only 7 laps. You're going to be needing to gain, I mean, at least 3, if not maybe 4 seconds a lap here to the end to really make this work. And I'm not too sure it's going to happen.
No, again, I wasn't expecting Atom to come into the pits. He's now behind Gibson. Gibson, I think, may have got in a pretty good time to take advantage of the fresher rubber. He's 4 laps old now at this point, so he came in a few laps after B4, as you can see on the graphic there. So, but maybe Atom is thinking he needs to cover this off. Maybe, I don't know, because Atom's got some pace, so I reckon he might even be able to catch back up to Gibson and get past him again. But I don't quite see what's going on. It's a bit odd what is happening at the moment, but either way, I mean, B4, 11 seconds now between him and Blade, and of course his tyres are only 4 laps younger. Is the deficit really that different between the two, I wonder? But a couple of them thinking it is so, as I would imagine the time now will start slowing down. It will still come down lap after lap, I'd imagine, but it should start to to level out a bit more as the laps wear on, the tyres get older, and yeah, you start getting into the closing stages. You don't want to bin it now at this point.
No, you don't. That's just the worst. I mean, you've been at it for nearly... I mean, what? About 45 minutes or so. You really don't want to just put the car into a wall rather than at an inopportune moment. Oh, excuse me. But we'll have to see. B4 now, the gap between him and Blades, 11 seconds, 6 laps to go. He needs to be gaining at least 2 seconds a lap to make this one work. And I'm not too sure if he's going to be doing that. Aston on the back of Gibson, he might be able to come through relatively quickly. But... I mean, let's see, this battle for the podium, I mean, Blades, I did see Blades absolutely, completely, a 100% wipe out Dom through turn 3, and I'm convinced that if that's ticketed, that's going to be a penalty for him. So I don't think he's really fighting for a podium here. I think Rob's really fighting B-Ford for a podium at the moment, but Blades is going to be probably wanting to get through on track, but he's just got to pick his moment. Rob's done very well in defence so far.
He has. He's putting in a stellar job at the moment. Is Rob? I can't fault him for the minute. So no, he's going to be very happy. Like you say, he started down in 15th, has now on the podium, and oh, that has spiced things up a little bit. Could this be then the battle for second? The gap is 3 seconds between him and Rob. That is Robin, that is, who is in P2. He's just picked up that time penalty. It's now just dipped under that 3-second window. Rob, still no penalty to his name. So he'll be keeping his fingers crossed if he could to make sure that he doesn't pick one up. But this could be now a battle for P2 on the cards.
Yeah, that makes it a little bit more interesting, doesn't it? But we'll see if he can make his way close enough to the window. I mean, he's just about in the window now, but you never really know what can happen. B-Ford on that last lap, barely gaining anything. I think that the edge that those tyres had has now gone, and he's not really going to be able to make any more inroads in towards the top 3. He's going to have to be careful of the guys behind, particularly Aston, as he's now through on Gibson. People as well might try and come through on the Williams driver soon enough. But Blade so close up in towards turn 4, not quite close enough. But Rob now outside that 3-second window. He's got to try and keep the pace up, but he's also not wanting to make a mistake. I mean, I think he'd be happy with P3 from where he started. But you always want the best position possible, don't you? If you can see a driver in front as a 3-second time penalty, you're begging yourself to get back into that window, aren't you, really?
You are. You want to do as well as you can every single time you get in the car or hop on the sim, however you want to word it. You're always aiming for the top spot. That's what everyone's here to do. They want to win, and that is what they set out to do. Of course, I will big up Atom. He did do a fantastic move on Gibson to get past him at the beginning of the last lap, round the outside of the final corner, and just found the grip and made it work. So a good move for Atom, puts him back into P6 now, as he is going to try and chase after B4, but the gap 7 seconds, I don't think he's catching enough per lap, as we've only got, is that 3 or 4 left now in this race, as Blade there having another little look, filling the mirrors of that Mercedes. He's not going anywhere anytime soon, Rob. You need to keep an eye on him and make sure you don't put a foot wrong. Immense pressure for Rob Kelly, and so far he's doing brilliantly with it. So we'll see if he can hang on to it for the rest of the race.
V-Floor getting on Gibson. Got now under a second between those two, but yeah, I mean, Blaze and Rob is that battle that we're kind of keeping an eye on. 3.5 laps to go in this race, and not too long. Just keeping the car rotated, keeping the tyres cool, keeping everything in check, just making sure you keep within the white lines as well. It's everything that the likes of Rob and Welshak are going to be thinking of. Now, Welshak in a very comfortable position, effectively got a 7-second lead over Robin with that 3-second tyre penalty, but Rob with a little bit of thinking to do. He may not know that Blades has wiped someone out, so he'll be definitely wanting to defend this position on track. But we'll have to see if he can do it. B-Ford, ooh, was that any bit? No, just my eyes. B-Ford in 5th currently. I think he's probably going to stay P5. Not picking up as many points as he'd want to, but also not a disaster, really, this race for him. Still just keeping that number in the championship ticking along, really. But we'll have to see what he can do. But yeah, closing stages now, isn't it, actually? I mean, Welshak has given a great race, but FIFA Lord, I think, is now the driver next to make a move.
He is. He's looking pretty racy. He was trying to have a sniff of it into turn 12, but he's backed out of it for the time being. I think he's waiting for his opportunity, which should come now down the start-finish straight into turn 1. Gibson going to try and defend it, pulling all the way over to the right-hand side, up to the wall, to make sure that he has that inside line to enable him to defend a bit easier. But FIFA Lord's going to go the long way round, and it looks like he's going to make it stick. It's now a drag down towards turn 2. FIFA Lord will have the inside line, puts his McLaren where he needs it, and he has made up another position. Up into P7 he goes, putting good use of that slightly fresher intermediate tyre that he is on. And let's see how this battle unfolds a little bit more. Gibson not dropping off in a hurry, and he'll probably try and make the move back in the next few laps. But yeah, closing stages now, only a couple to go, and we'll see where everyone finishes by the time we get to the checkered flag. But we may still see a move or two from a couple of these guys.
Where's it going to come from? I mean, FIFA I thought it was going to start to drive away from Gibson here and without a mistake. It's just Blades versus Rob, really, that we're going to be looking at for a move in the closing 2 laps. Only 2 more trips down to the opening corner. I mean, Blades, look, he's close through the final corner. He's just not close enough. I mean, they've both got more than enough ERS to be able to defend well, for Rob to defend comfortably. Blades has got nearly a full store, so he can really try and gain up to the back of Rob, but he's just not close enough to use it when Rob also has that button to use himself. But Rob at the moment, you'd have to say, really is racing Robin for P2 here, and we'll have to see if he can pick that one up. But lap and a half to go, Welsh Jack procession to victory, but I mean, good points for everyone who stuck around in this race.
It is. They're all going to be happy, I think, come the end of the Grand Prix, wherever they end up, because it is good points down to P8. Points do go down to 15th position here for GRL, like the MotoGP, so slightly different than the real-world counterpart of Formula 1. So yeah, down to P8, you get some good point scoring there if you do finish. So no, they're all going to be very happy, that I am sure. The gap between Rob and Robin, it is opening up slightly. It's nearly 4 seconds now, so I think Rob may have given up the ghost on that one. He's very much just defending his heart out to try and keep Blade behind. He probably doesn't know that Blade is potentially going to get a penalty coming his way, but it's just through this final sector, into this final sector, Blade's able to just close up on Rob rather nicely, and then into the final corner, Rob just gets it right. He's able to get the traction out of it, and that is what is helping him, you know, defend from Blade lap after lap, because once you get past turn 1 and 2, it's very much a procession. So no, for the time being, and for the final lap now, final lap begun, Welsh Jack cruising to victory, and Rob Kelly's got 1 lap left to save it.
He has got 1 lap left to save it, but we'll see if he can do so coming down into turn... I mean, he's got it really comfortably here. I don't think Blades is going to go for a move now just for a silly one here, maybe just diving those in there. I think he's just going to consolidate his position, but really, I mean, over the race, it's been a very effective performance from Rob. Started 15th, currently up in 3rd.
He is. If it's going to be a podium for him, then he has done, well, almost a miracle, you would say, in some regards, because P15 making his way through the grid. Of course, we've had a very topsy-turvy race, how it's panned out, but he's put his car where he needs it. He's beaten his teammate on this occasion as well, which is no mean feat from the well, not the world champion, apology, but the season 3 champ, season 4 vice champ, and Rob's done everything he needs to do. Only a couple corners to go now, and we'll watch Welsh Jack cruise to victory as well.
Yeah, through the final corner now, Welsh Jack, championship leader, coming into this race. He's driven a stellar evening. He's been absolutely flawless, and he wins in Hungary, and it'll be Robin in P2. He might have a qualifying ban next week after that blocking qualifying, so he can enjoy it while he can. But Rob Kelly, Super Rob Kelly, P3 in the race, Blaze in 4th, and it'll be B4 who tried that strategy, and in the end, only about just under 6 seconds behind Blade, so not bad at all. Aston will come home for P6, just about across the grass, with FIFA Lord and Gibson finishing 7th and 8th in the end. But Welsh Jack, great win for him. Robin and Rob Kelly 2nd and 3rd. But, I mean, Rob Kelly, you have to put Rob Kelly down as driver of the day. I mean, the strategy worked out well for him, but he didn't really lose any ground across the race. I think he maybe only got overtaken once or twice, but really made the moves when he needed to.
He did. He's the games driver today. He sounds like he's your driver of the day, and he's even my driver of the day because he's done an absolute stellar performance. I'll say that once again, of course. But no, he's done all what he needed to do. He really did soak up that pressure in those closing stages from Blade, who was hounding him all the way to the checkered flag. And so no, he's done an absolute phenomenal race, has Rob there. So no, well done to him. But of course, well done to the winner, Welsh Jack. Well done to Robin, who managed to bring it home in P2 as well for Ferrari. And then, of course, Rob Kelly rounds out the podium. We've been singing his praises, and I'm sure we'll be singing them long into the night as well. So, no, there you are.
But let's get them in. I think Welsh Jack's going to be difficult to get into the party, but let's try and get Robin and Rob Kelly in here for an interview in this race. But yeah, great
Robin
points.
And Rob. We'll give it a go.
I'm sure Rob will join.
It is.
But well, let's see.
Either way.
What was I going to say? I'm sure that. There we go. I'm sure that the drivers who retired are going to be ruining it. I mean, Sousa, he had the fastest lap, not going to pick up any points. But it's just a bit of a crazy race, really. 8 finishers, 16 starters. Long list of non-finishers. There they are. Sousa, Nardo, Dom, Mizzy, Partick, Dale, Delta, Takubi. But yeah, Welsh Jack winning from Robin from Rob. There is Rob. We'll try and get Robin in soon. We'll ask him if he wants to join. Oh, there he is. That's easy. There you have it. That's the end of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Ashley, would you like to do the interviews? I'll pass it over to you.
Oh yeah, I'll give it a go then. Why not? Rob, we'll start with you. Fantastic P3, of course, and what a brilliant performance
P2,
there,
mate.
defending.
Whoa. It's P2.
P2. No, I'm talking to Rob.
Oh,
Not Robin.
sorry.
I'm talking to Rob. We'll gloss over that, shall we?
To be fair, Rob and Robin is
Nah, go on,
it is
go on.
similar.
I know.
To be fair,
It's very similar.
I'll give you that.
But no, I'll come
I'll
to you
take
in a minute.
P2 if you want to
can't
give
you?
it to me, though, mate. It's alright. I'll have it if you want. I'll take it.
Hold your horses. We'll come to you in a minute. No, we'll come to you first, Rob. Brilliant performance there to secure P3 in the end. You were being hounded by Blade for the entire final stint. What are your thoughts from the race in total to begin with?
Well, yeah, it was obviously a pretty nice one. Quali ban, so got to watch Arsenal go 5-0 up at half-time, so that was pretty nice. Race was pretty slow starting, just sort of sat and waited for people to take each other out. I had a bit of a mini race with Atom through the middle, which was a nice bit of fun, and he did make me crap myself a little bit at times, but sort of once I got ahead of him and had Blades on my rear, was sort of just not making any mistakes, and I had a better exit on him out of the final corner pretty much every lap, so yeah, it was alright to be fair. Yeah, it did make me sweat a few times with the last sector. He got quite close.
Yeah, understandably so. I was mentioning to Darry you were very good on that final exit. I think that saved you very much throughout that final stint. But as well as when we got that sort of first safety car, you were right at the front of the grid. What were your, thoughts at that moment in time, being that you started P15 and by the middle of the race you were sort of fighting around for the win potentially? What sort of strategies and stuff were you sort of thinking about going for?
Well, yeah, as soon as I saw the safety car come out, I saw that the leaders were going to get caught, and I was in a pub with FIFA, and I was like, mate, we're going to get them all here. It's going to be huge. And we got into a pretty nice position. There's a few guys that you sort of know. I think when Welsh Jack came to my rear, I just lifted off. Like, I did not want to fight that guy whatsoever. He was going to leave me for dead. So it was sort of just keeping your nose clean and just not getting any incidents, because there were so many guys who had a lot more pace than I did, but sort of got caught up. So sort of keep the nose clean and just stay with it and hope it comes to you at the end.
Yeah, and it did. Very good race indeed. Thank you very much, Rob.
Can I very quickly, Ashley? Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Before you jump to Rob, I was going to say, Rob, we were saying this during the race. You may not know this, but Blade did obliterate Dom, so he was very likely to pick up a penalty. But I knew that you wouldn't
You
know
thought
that.
I wasn't listening to you?
Oh, were you listening?
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
I actually got on my ear the whole time. I had you in my head. I was listening to you and watching the Arsenal game. It was great.
Oh, that's the dream, really, isn't it? Me and Arsenal.
No, I couldn't hear loads that you were saying, to be fair. But, no, I didn't know that, but No, I was listening.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Right,
I
I'll
wanna
give it
run
back
track
to you,
at the end
actually.
of the
Sorry about
day.
that.
Fair enough. He's got all the information he needs. Oh, lovely. Robin, we'll bring it to you then. P2, brilliant result for you as well. Obviously, that penalty towards the end of the race, I think maybe you felt a bit of the pressure. But first question I want to ask you, I'm actually going to bring it all the way back to qualifying, if you can remember it. What sort of happened between you and Atom? Were you just unaware that he was behind you on a lap, or how do you interpret that incident that occurred?
Well, when you start your outlap, you put your brake bias up to 70 so you can brake drag and the tires will evenly warm up. So when I was changing my brake bias back to 54 or whatever it was, I was looking at my wheel to put in the right buttons, and yeah, I didn't see him in my rearview mirror, so that is what happened.
Okay, that's understandable. Fair enough. I just wanted to get your opinion on the incident, as it is fairly fresh in the mind. But I'll jump into the race now, because of course, brilliant P2 for you in the end. And if I'm not mistaken, is it first time here for GRO as well? So
Yeah,
if I'm
this
not
season is
mistaken,
my
how was
debut,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, how do you feel your debut went?
Well, pretty decent. The first stint wasn't the greatest. The tires fell off after lap 10. It was really horrible. So I got really lucky with the safety car, because everyone in front of me, they passed the pit lane, but I could make the pit lane. So that helped out a lot. I had a great restart. I think I pulled a second on the guy behind me. Then Welsh was catching up quick, and I was like, yeah, if he is catching up and wants to overtake me, I'm not gonna fight him, because there is no point. He was way too quick for me. Kept the shit out of me in the last stint, so pretty
Yeah,
decent.
that's understandable. He was a man on a mission today, was Welsh Jackson. Well done to him, but of course, well done to you for P2. Final question I want to ask is that about the penalty then in the closing stages. Of course, you did open the gap up to Rob behind. He was putting in a good defense, but did you have any doubts in your going through your mind at that point if maybe you might lose P2?
Nah, I was saving the tires, so I had a lot of tire left at the end of the stint, so I could push. I was pretty confident, and I saw the gap getting bigger and bigger, so I wasn't really worried about that.
Understandable. Then that's fair enough. Dara, any further questions you may have?
Not really. If nothing else, I'm just because of course I've never been in an interview with you, Robin. But I'm kind of loving. Obviously, you're Dutch. But I'm loving the slight northern twang to your English accent. It's fantastic. So I hope I can see it to talk to you more, because it just sounds great. Anyway, that's just more of a random point I was going to make, but well done, because you had a fantastic race, and I hope to see what you can do in the next couple of weeks. I mean, of course we've got a good couple of races coming up: Belgium, Sprint, Australia as well. So good luck for the next few races.
Thanks, mate.
But yeah, I think we can wrap this one up there then, actually. I mean, a great race for Welsh Jack, winning the race. Unfortunately, he's on PC, so we can't quite join the party. But Robin and Rob Kelly, second and third. Congrats to them, especially for Rob from signing P15 to getting to P3. Great drive from him. But like we said, we'll be back next week. Belgium's second sprint race of the season at Spa. We're looking forward to that one. But join us in 7 days' time. In the meantime, enjoy the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix if you can this weekend. But between now and then, we hope you enjoy your week. And we will see you when GRL returns in Belgium.